Imagine you are sinking, not a violent, panic plunge, but a slow, deliberate descent into absolute otherness. The vibrant blues of the sunlit ocean surface fade to a deep sapphire, then to a muted indigo, and finally, to a blackness so complete it feels solid. The last photons of light, the final messengers from the world you know, vanished miles above you. The water temperature has plunged to just above freezing, a biting, constant cold that seeps into everything. But the cold is not the dominant sensation. The defining reality of this realm is pressure. With every foot you descend, the weight of the world's ocean accumulates above you. Here, at the deepest point on Earth, in a gash in the planet's crust known as the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, that pressure is monumental. It is over 1,000 times the pressure you feel at sea level. Picture the weight of 50 jumbo jets stacked on your body. Imagine a single ton balanced on the tip of your finger. This is a force that would crumple a military submarine like a soda can. It is a force that fundamentally alters the rules of chemistry and biology. This is the Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the underworld of Greek myth, and it is not an empty void. It is a world. But what kind of world? For most of human history, this question was not just unanswerable, it was unimaginable. The deep ocean was simply the abyss, a realm of monsters and myths depicted on ancient maps with the warning, "Here be dragons." Our understanding began not with a dive, but with a rope. In the 1870s, the British naval vessel HMS Challenger embarked on a groundbreaking 4-year expedition to chart the world's oceans, armed with thermometers, dredges, and miles of Italian hemp rope. Its crew performed a methodical, tedious process. They would stop the ship, spool out a weighted line, and wait, sometimes for hours, for it to hit the bottom. In a region east of the Philippines, they kept spooling and spooling. The line dropped for over 5 miles before finally finding the seabed. They had, by complete chance, discovered the deepest region of the ocean. It was a staggering measurement for the time, a hint that our planet held secrets far deeper than anyone had conceived. But a weighted rope is a crude tool. The true scale of this feature remained a mystery until technology caught up. In 1951, another British ship, the HMS Challenger II, returned to the area armed with a new power, echo sounding. By bouncing sound waves off the seafloor, it painted a far more detailed picture. It confirmed the earlier finding and refined it, locating a small, even deeper slot at the southern end of the trench. In honor of its predecessor, they named this ultimate abyss the Challenger Deep. The map now had a destination, a single point marking the bottom of the world. Knowing it was there and going there, however, were two vastly different challenges. The question of life became paramount. It was widely believed that no life, certainly no complex life, could survive the combination of absolute darkness, freezing temperatures, and above all, the inconceivable pressure. It was thought to be a sterile, crushed dessert. This dogma was about to be shattered by two men inside a steel ball. On January 23, 1960, a strange-looking craft bobbed on the choppy surface of the Pacific. It was the bathyscaphe Trieste, a vessel that was less a submarine and more an underwater balloon. It consisted of a massive, buoyant float filled with gasoline, and, dangling beneath it, a tiny, 7-foot diameter sphere. This sphere was the crew cabin, its walls 5 inches of solid steel, with a single, cone-shaped window made of plexiglass. Inside, squeezed into the cramped space, were Swiss oceanographer Jacques Piccard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh. Their mission, to do what was thought impossible, to fall to the bottom of the world and return. Their descent was a journey into the unknown. For nearly 5 hours, they fell through the liquid darkness, the only light coming from their instrument panel. The temperature inside the sphere dropped, and condensation began to rain down on them from the ceiling. The silence was broken only by the hum of their electronics and the creaks of the vessel as it compressed under the mounting pressure. Then a loud, sharp crack echoed through the cabin, a terrifying sound thousands of feet from any possible rescue. Picard and Walsh scanned their instruments, searching for a fatal breach. They found the source. An outer pane of the plexiglass window had fractured under the strain. They were inside a ticking bomb, and they made the audacious decision to continue. They were betting their lives on the integrity of the inner panes. Finally, after an eternity of falling, a cloud of white silk billowed up past their viewport. They had landed. They were on the floor of the Challenger Deep, nearly 7 miles below the surface. They had reached the underworld, and then they saw it through the thick glass, illuminated by the Trist's external lamps. Picard spotted a creature. He described it as a flat fish, about a foot long, moving slowly along the bottom. This observation was electrifying. If a complex vertebrate like a fish could exist here, then the theory of a lifeless Hadal zone was utterly wrong. Life was not just possible here, it was present, though later analysis suggested what Picard saw was likely a type of sea cucumber, a holothurian. The point was unchanged. They had proven that the deepest, most hostile environment on our planet was inhabited. After just 20 minutes on the bottom, a time dictated by the immense cold and the risks of their damaged vessel, they released their iron ballast and began their 3-hour ascent back to the world of light and air. They had opened a door. Now science could begin to explore what lay beyond it. So, what have we learned in the decades since that pioneering dive? What kind of world is it really? It is, first and foremost, a world defined by what it lacks: light. With no sunlight, photosynthesis, the foundation of nearly all life on Earth, is impossible. The primary source of food is a slow, constant rain of organic matter from the waters far above, known as marine snow. It is a blizzard of dead plankton, fecal pellets, shed exoskeletons, and the occasional sunken whale carcass, which can sustain a whole community for decades. The life that survives here has adapted in extraordinary ways. The crushing pressure doesn't flatten them because they have no internal air spaces to be compressed. A human body would be destroyed because our lungs, sinuses, and other gas-filled cavities would instantly collapse. The creatures of the trench are largely water, and water is nearly incompressible. Their bodies are made of gelatinous tissues and flexible, cartilaginous bones. Pressure works on them from all sides at once, inside and out, so they feel no net force that would tear them apart. To function on a cellular level, they have evolved unique biological tools. The pressure warps the proteins and enzymes that are the machinery of life, deforming them so they can no longer function correctly. Deep-sea organisms produce organic molecules called piezolates, a name derived from the Greek for pressure. These molecules, like trimethylamine N-oxide, pack tightly around their proteins, creating a sort of molecular armor that supports their structure and allows them to work under pressures that would annihilate normal cells. The inhabitants themselves are a gallery of the alien and the extreme. The king of this abyss is the Mariana snailfish, Pseudolaparaswire, the deepest living fish ever discovered. It looks less like a fish and more like a ghostly tadpole, with translucent, scaleless skin, tiny black eyes, and a body that seems to have no substance. It thrives at depths of over 8,000 meters, a testament to the power of its piezoelectric cells. Scuttling across the seabed are giant amphipods, creatures resembling colossal shrimp or woodlice, some growing to over a foot in length. This phenomenon, known as absolute gigantism, is a recurring theme in the deep, though its causes are still debated. It could be an adaptation to scarce food resources, allowing for larger, more efficient storage of energy, or a result of the high pressure and low temperatures slowing down metabolic processes and extending lifespans, allowing them to grow larger over time. Then there are the xenophyophores. These are among the most bizarre life forms imaginable. They are giant, single-celled organisms. Let that sink in. A single cell, a protozoan, that can grow to the size of a human fist. They construct intricate, branching shells, called tests, from sediment and the cemented skeletons of other microorganisms. They don't move much, instead extending a web of protoplasm to absorb nutrients from the surrounding ooze. In doing so, they create complex structures on the otherwise barren seafloor, becoming microhabitats for other, smaller organisms. They are the ecosystem engineers of this dark world, and of course, there are the sea cucumbers, the creatures Picard likely saw. These slug-like echinoderms are the great recyclers of the trench, inching their way across the abyssal plains, hoovering up the marine snow with their feeding tentacles. They are the earthworms of the deep sea, processing the detritus and returning nutrients to the ecosystem. But marine snow is not the only source of energy in this world without sun. Some life turns to the heat and chemistry of the earth itself. The Mariana Trench is a subduction zone, a place where one tectonic plate is grinding its way beneath another. This intense geological activity creates fissures in the seafloor, from which superheated, mineral-rich water erupts. These are hydrothermal vents, often called black smokers. Here, an entire ecosystem is built not on photosynthesis, but on chemosynthesis. Specialized bacteria and archaea, ancient forms of life, thrive on the toxic chemicals spewing from the vents, particularly hydrogen sulfide. They metabolize these chemicals to create energy, becoming the base of a food chain that is utterly independent of the sun. They are the producers, the plants of this alien garden, supporting communities of tubeworms, ghostly white crabs, and strange clams, all clustered around the life-giving heat and poison. For 50 years after the tryst, no human returned to the Challenger Deep. The technical challenges remained immense. The abyss kept its secrets. Then, in 2012, a new kind of explorer descended, filmmaker and adventurer James Cameron, in a sleek, vertical submersible he designed called the Deep Sea Challenger, made a solo dive to the bottom. Unlike the tryst, which was essentially an elevator with a viewport, Cameron's craft was a mobile scientific laboratory, bristling with high-definition cameras, lights, and a robotic arm for collecting samples. He brought the Hadal world to humanity in stunning clarity, revealing a landscape that was stark, lunar, and hauntingly beautiful. More recently, the explorer Victor Vescovo and his limiting factor submersible have turned a once-in-a-lifetime stunt into a repeatable scientific endeavor. Vescovo has dived to the Challenger Deep multiple times, systematically mapping the bottom and taking samples. He has made visiting the deepest point on the planet almost routine, opening the door for a new era of consistent, methodical Hadal science. And this new era has brought with it a sobering discovery. The world at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is not pristine. It is not untouched. On one of his dives, Victor Vescovo found a plastic bag and candy wrappers. Scientists analyzing the tissues of the giant amphipods from the trench have found them to be riddled with microplastics and industrial pollutants like PCBs, chemicals that were banned decades ago. The rain from above is no longer just organic. It now includes the indestructible fallout of our own civilization. It turns out that the trench, far from being a separate world, acts as a planetary sink. The currents of the ocean, over years and decades, eventually carry our waste to the deepest crevices on Earth. The very remoteness and topography that make the trench so mysterious also make it a final repository for our pollution. The most alien environment on our own planet now bears our fingerprints. So, what kind of world lies at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? It is a world of paradoxes. It is a place of unimaginable pressure that nonetheless cradles delicate, gelatinous life. It is a realm of absolute darkness where life can be fueled by the planet's internal fire. It is home to single-celled giants and ghostly fish that thrive where none should. It is a world that, for eons, existed in perfect isolation, governed only by geology and the slow drift of marine snow. But today, it is also a mirror. It reflects not only the incredible tenacity and adaptability of life but also the pervasive, inescapable reach of human activity. It is the final frontier on our own planet, a place that holds clues to the origins of life and the limits of biology. And it is a final warning that no part of our world is separate from us, that our actions have consequences that can reach even into the crushing, eternal night of the deepest abyss. The underworld is not another world. It is the basement of our own, and we are slowly learning what we have stored there.